Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2562 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. In today's Wisdom Nugget, we continue our journey through Psalm 45. In this episode, we'll be exploring verses 10 through 17 from the New Living Translation. Psalm 45 is a beautiful and poetic wedding song that was originally celebrated the marriage of an Israelite king, but it also carries a prophetic significance, pointing to Christ as the ultimate king and the church as his bride. Today's passage shifts the focus to the bride, her calling, her beauty, and her glorious future. This passage invites us to reflect on what it means to be part of God's kingdom and how we are called to embrace our new identity in Christ. Let's begin by reading this passage together. Psalm chapter 45, verses 10 through 17. Listen to me, O royal daughters. Take to heart what I say. Forget your people and your family far away. For your royal husband delights in your beauty. Honor him, for he is your Lord. The princess of Tyre will shower you with gifts. The wealthy will beg your favor. The bride, the princess, looks glorious in her golden gown. In her beautiful robe, she is led to the king, accompanied by her bridesmaid. What a joyful and enthusiastic procession as they enter the king's palace. Your sons will become kings like their fathers. You will make them rulers over many lands. I will bring honor to your name in every generation. Therefore, the nations will praise you forever and ever. The passage begins with a call to the bride. Listen to me, O royal daughter. Take heart to what I say. Forget your people and your family far away. This is an invitation to her to leave behind her old life and fully embrace her new identity as a king's bride. This verse reflects the common theme in royal marriages of the ancient world. When a woman married a king, she often left her homeland to become part of his kingdom. This wasn't just a geographical shift, but represented a new allegiance, a new way of life. Verse 11 continues, For your royal husband delights in your beauty. Honor him, for he is your Lord. This highlights the bride's cherished status. She is not merely accepted, but she is delighted in. The king values her and calls her to a place of honor. Imagine a young woman from a humble background being chosen to marry a great and noble king. At first, she might struggle with leaving behind her familiar life, but as she embraces her new role, she realizes the honor and love bestowed upon her. For believers, this passage mirrors our calling in Christ. When we become followers of Jesus, we are invited to leave behind anything that holds us back from fully embracing our new identity in Him. It's not just about giving up our past, it's about stepping into something greater, a relationship where we are fully known, loved, and cherished. Verse 12 shifts to describe the favor bestowed upon the bride. The princess of Tyre will shower you with gifts. The wealthy will beg your favor. This verse highlights the honor and influence that comes with her new position. Tyre was a very wealthy and powerful city, so its princess bringing gifts is a sign of great respect. Verse 13 describes the bride's splendor. The bride, a princess, looks glorious in her golden gown. This imagery portrays her transformation. She is not just any bride, she is a radiant and honored queen. Consider the grandeur of a royal wedding. The bride, dressed in the finest gown, captures everyone's attention. Her appearance reflects her new identity and the significance of the occasion. In the same way, the church, the bride of Christ, is adorned with righteousness and grace. Do we recognize the honor of being part of God's kingdom? Sometimes we live as though we are still outsiders, unworthy of His love. But this passage reminds us that in Christ, we are not only fully accepted, but honored. We are clothed in His righteousness, and our life should reflect His glory. Verse 14 continues, In her beautiful robes she is led to the king, accompanied by her bridesmaid. The scene is one of celebration, where the bride is brought into the presence of the king, surrounded by those who rejoice with her. Verse 15 emphasizes the joy of the moment. What a joyful and enthusiastic procession as they enter the king's palace. The emphasis on joy reflects the excitement of the wedding, but also is a deeper joy of entering into the covenant relationship with the king. Think about a wedding ceremony. The moment the bride walks down the aisle, there is an anticipation, beauty, and joy. Everyone stands in honor, and the groom watches with delight. That moment symbolizes the joy of our union with Christ, where He welcomes us into His eternal kingdom with love and celebration. Do we approach our relationship with God with joy? Too often we see faith as a duty rather than a delight. This passage reminds us that our journey with Christ should be filled with joy, knowing that we are part of something far greater than we can imagine. In verse 16, it brings the promise of the future. Your sons will become kings like their father. You will make them rulers over many lands. This speaks of a lasting legacy, a royal lineage that will continue through generations. And then verse 17 declares, I will bring honor to your name in every generation. Therefore the nations will praise you forever and ever. This verse moves from the personal to the universal. The wedding of the king and his bride is not just a private affair. It impacts nations and generations to come. Consider the legacy of a great leader whose influence extends beyond their lifetime. Their impact is felt for generations, shaping history in profound ways. The same is true of God's kingdom. His reign is everlasting, and those who belong to him have an eternal inheritance. As followers of Christ, we are called to live in a way that impacts future generations. Our faith is not just for us, it is meant to be passed down, influencing those around us and pointing them to Christ. Psalm chapter 45, verses 10 through 17, gives us a beautiful picture of our relationship with Christ and our calling as his bride. Let's reflect on some key themes. First is leaving the past behind. Just as the bride is called to leave her old life, we are called to fully embrace our identity with Christ and let go of anything that hinders our relationship with him. Second, Christ delights in his people. We are not just tolerated, we are cherished. Our worth is found in the love of our King. Third, living in honor and joy. The bride is adorned in glory, reflecting the honor of her new position. We too should live in a way that reflects the beauty of Christ in us. And fourth, leaving a lasting legacy. Our faith is meant to impact future generations. By living for Christ, we contribute to his eternal kingdom that will be praised forever. How can we apply these truths to our daily lives? We can embrace our identity in Christ. Let go of anything that holds you back and step fully into your calling as his beloved. Next, find joy in your faith. Worship and serve with joy, knowing that you are part of a greater kingdom. And finally, pass down your faith. Invest in others, sharing the love and truth of Christ, so that future generations may also walk in him. Psalm chapter 45, verses 10 through 17, gives us just a glimpse of the beauty, joy, and eternal impact of being part of God's kingdom. Just as the bride in the psalm is honored and cherished, so are we in Christ. Thank you for joining me today on our Wisdom Trek. May you walk in the joy of knowing that you are deeply loved by the King. Until the next time, may God's wisdom guide your step, and may peace fill your heart. And if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, and most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.